Hi everyone, how are you doing? Welcome to the show. Thank you for tuning in to Turn Right with Jose Castillo. This is the first time that I am doing this, so I'm so glad that you're joining us. And this is something that I've been working on for a while now. I've been trying to do a live show, and but basically I was putting it on hold just because I wanted to wait for the elections to be over. And unfortunately, as you guys know, our election's still up in the air. We still don't know who our next president will be. Hopefully, though, if all the legal votes are counted, and we want all the legal votes to be counted, that will be President Donald Trump. But we have to wait and see, and just let the legal process work out itself, and then we'll have a new president. And whoever that will be, we will be behind that president, because this is our country. We want our president to do well because we want our country to do well. Now, I want to say I apologize because I did tell some people I would be live at 3 p.m. and it's a little after 3. It's like 15, 16 minutes after 3. Now, unfortunately, I was out in the backyard. My daughter was playing there, and we found a snake, so I had to take care of that. So I couldn't hop online just in time to make the show. But I'm glad that I'm here. And I told you I've been working for this for a while, and I know the election's not over yet, but I couldn't wait anymore. And I couldn't wait anymore because the reality is I couldn't wait any longer because the Democrats are already on the ground. They're already in the neighborhoods. They are already knocking on doors. They're already registering people to vote. And I have an example of that I'm going to show you. A few days ago, I saw online this flyer that was targeted for people in our community here in Central Florida, specifically the Walt Disney Company cast members who have been furloughed due to the coronavirus. As you know, there's so many states and so many countries that are still closed, and due to the virus, and the governors in some of the blue states won't open the economies, so people are afraid. A lot of people are out of work, and even the people that are at work are saving their money. They're not traveling. Here in Central Florida, our economy depends a lot on tourism and travel, and therefore a lot of the hotels here, a lot of the businesses, a lot of the attractions, such as the Walt Disney Company, have been affected. And a lot of those employees have either been laid off or furloughed. And there was this flyer that I saw that it was targeting during the Thanksgiving season. It was saying they were going to be giving. Let me just put it up here so that you guys can see it. Sorry, they were going to be basically giving out some turkeys for people in the community. And you can see it says "Love for Disney." Thanksgiving dinner giveaway. It's a drive-through, of course. They're being trying to be mindful of the coronavirus, and they don't want that spreading. But it says support Disney furloughed workers, and that's a great thing. It's a giveaway. Isn't that great? And the one thing though that you got to look at the bottom of the flyer, it says the NAACP will be there registering for new voters. And I don't think the NAACP is the most right-wing organization. So I definitely think that that's basically the Democratic Party registering people to vote, telling people, we're here for you, we care about you, and we're going to give you this free meal. And just remember, we're the ones who were there when you were struggling. So that's what it is. And they're already in the neighborhoods. They're already knocking on doors. They're registering people. So we can't wait. We have to do the same. And for that reason, I actually decided that, I'm not sure if some of you are aware, but I was a candidate for Congress in the last election cycle, and that was for 2020. I did not come out as the victor in the primary, but I still have the same goal in mind, and the same goal is to unseat the congressman here in Florida's District 9. The reason is I just don't think that his votes are for the best interest of our community, and because I told you that we can't wait any longer, I just want to get this out of the way and just let you know that I've also already filed to run once again for Congress to unseat Democrat Darren Soto in Florida's District 9. But that is not what this show is about. This show this show is about turning right. And I believe that no matter where you are in the political spectrum, whether you are right or left, you need to just pause for a second and turn right. And yes, I know some of you might be out there thinking, I'm conservative. Why do I need to turn right? And I'll be very honest with you. I used to identify as a fiscal conservative. And that is before I got really involved and started reading the Constitution and really trying to comprehend it and understand it and listening to people who are experts in the Constitution so that we can learn together, right? And I was a fiscal conservative. I always said, you know what, I don't care what the government does as long as they need to just stop spending money. They need to stop taxing us. And I know there's a lot of people that think that way, especially business owners. Business owners want government to get out of the way and just let us operate and let us grow the economy, because it's really business owners who grow the economy. It's not the government. So I used to identify as a fiscal conservative. And now, I've read the Constitution, and there's so much more to it. There's just so much more to it. The Constitution, it's, this document that we the people created, the states created, our founding fathers created, and basically tells the government that, we have rights. We have rights, and rights that you cannot take away from us. And, in other countries, many countries, the government tells you what rights you have. So it's very important for people to take a step back and get a copy of the Constitution. And by the way, if you don't have one, if you don't have a copy of the Constitution, it's very easy to read, very small book. And you can send me a message, and I'll make sure that I can send one to you for free. Now, I would encourage you to read it. And like I said, if you don't know what your rights are, you don't know that the government is trampling them. So I used to be just a fiscal conservative. I didn't know what all my rights were and why it was important to defend them. But now that I've read it, I'm a constitutional conservative. And there's also people on the right that are religious conservatives. They care about pro-life issues. They care about freedom of religion. But again, there is so many more rights. Just think about this. Freedom of religion. If you didn't have your right to bear arms, very likely we probably wouldn't have a freedom of religion. We wouldn't be able to protect the entire Constitution. So it's important that no matter where you are in the political spectrum, that you read the Constitution and you turn right, especially if you're on the left. I think that a lot of people on the left, they don't know why they are on the left, why they believe what they believe. And it seems now that they just have they bought into the media narrative that they just need to hate the people that don't agree with them and hate people who are conservative. So I encourage them to just go ahead and read the Constitution. And also to them, this applies to them. If you do not have a copy of the Constitution, I would be glad to send one to you. But this week in particular, this weekend, it was Black Friday, and the whole weekend, a lot of people are shopping online. There's Black Friday, but there's also Cyber Monday. And you get a lot of email on your inbox from all these companies you've ever given your email to. And I did receive one email in particular from this company that is called Ancestry.com. I got an email from them. And when I got that email, it made me think. It made me think, wow, I really wish that I could buy a kit, in this kit where you put your saliva in a little tube and you send it to them, and they'll tell you about your DNA traits, where you come from and whatnot. And you can do it with your family, and it'll tell you that you're related to each other. Well, I'm going to show you their website. This is what their website looks like right now. And as you can see, it says, oh, they just upped their price. Their price was $49 just over the weekend. And basically, I said, I wish I could buy a kit and send it to Washington, express mail, to the Democratic National Party. If I could just send it to them and see if they would do a test and see if there's any resemblance to the Democratic Party of the past. Because I think there's very little resemblance. Actually, as a matter of fact, if the Democratic Party now were to take this test, and by the way, Ancestry.com is not paying me for this. There's other companies out there, 23andMe. There's many companies out there that do these type of tests. But this is just the email that I got from them. If the Democratic Party were to do a DNA test, I think their traits would come back more similar to socialist and communist and the dictatorial governments of today than that of the Democratic Party of the past. And I say that in jest, but in all honesty, I really think that they would get something like this in the mail. And this is just me fooling around. Anyways, I say that because, back in the day, well, actually, let me tell you a little bit about me. I was very influenced by a Democratic president. Yes, I know. I am a constitutional conservative. I am a Republican, but I was influenced in my life by a Democratic president, and one that you probably are all familiar with. And I'm going to tell you why. When I was young, I think I was going into third grade. It was a summer, and I had just finished second grade, going into third grade. I was with my family. We were in New Orleans for the summer. Now, keep in mind, I went to an American school in Central America and Honduras. So in the summers, we would spend the entire summers, sometimes the winter season in our home in New Orleans. And I was there with all my cousins, my aunts, my uncles, and we would take road trips in the summers. Every summer, we would take at least 2 road trips. One was always to Disney World. That's where my heart was. That's why I worked. That's why I joined the Walt Disney Company. And, I was more of it's a small world kind of kid, and Carousel of Progress. I really enjoyed that, going with my mom on those rides. Now, my cousins, they like the thrill rides. And for that reason, we were in New Orleans, and we would have to travel on a road trip to a Six Flags. Now, New Orleans didn't have one back then. They had Jazzland at some point, and you know what happened to that during Katrina. It got flooded. But anyways, before that, when I was going into third grade, our options were going to Atlanta, Georgia, over Six Flags over Georgia, going to Houston. They had Astroworld. That was my favorite of the Six Flags. But also there was one in Dallas. And this time we took a trip to Dallas, and it was Six Flags over Texas. So we went there. As you can imagine, for me, going on roller coasters, which is not the highlight of the trip. The highlight of the trip for me was going to a museum. And we went to this museum called the Sixth Floor. And this museum is located in the heart of Dallas. And basically, it's located on the 6th floor of this building called the Book Depository. Now, the Book Depository is the building from where an assassin supposedly ended with our president's life. That's where the magic bullet came out of, from the 6th floor. And of course, we might never know what really happened, who really killed JFK, because, as you know, the supposed assassin, Lee Harvey Oswald, was killed later on, shortly after JFK was killed. But I was at that museum, and I got to learn about his life, about his time in office, and then his time in the presidency, and about his death as well. And keep in mind, I was about to go into third grade, so this really caused a great impression on me. It was the first time that I was really comprehending what a president is, what a president does. And I knew who the president was. I just didn't know the impact it could have on our lives. So I was going through the museum, and I was able to see a lot of the footage, a lot of his speeches, and I love his speeches, by the way. But there's one in particular that I'm gonna show you, and it's this speech that he gave. Let me bring it up for you, and I want you to hear it, because I think that although JFK was a Democratic president, I believe that what you're about to hear, there's very few Democrats that actually believe this, what he's just about to tell us, the American people. So let me just play it for you. Give me 1 second.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. My fellow citizens of the world, ask not what America will do for you, but what together we can do for the freedom of man.
Now that is a powerful speech. He says, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. And then also keep in mind that, like I said, I was growing up outside of the 50 states. I was in Central America at American school. And he says to the citizens of the rest of the world, his fellow world citizens, he says, ask not what America can do for you, ask what together we can do for the freedom of man. And that is just powerful still today, because think about it, we have coronavirus, and a lot of countries are on lockdown. I know that I have friends and family back in Central America, and some of them tell me they can only go out once a week. They need a permit, and they, you go to the bank, and You go to the store, the supermarket, and they'll check your ID to make sure that you're actually allowed to go out that day. And if the supermarkets let you in, then the government shuts down the supermarket. So it's just crazy what's going on with this coronavirus. So we are so lucky to live in this country and have the rights and the freedoms that we have. But again, if you do not read the Constitution, if you don't pause and turn right and look at that document and see what are all your rights, the government can just take them away from you that easily. So anyway, so I digress. I was telling you that I don't believe that there are Democrats now that believe in that quote. Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. And I know that there's a lot of people that say that in the Democratic Party that people want free stuff and whatnot. And I know there's a lot of politicians on the left, probably on the right as well, that like to pander. And they will say, this is what I will do for you in exchange for your vote, versus saying, this is what I'm going to do for the country, right? Because we should all be putting the country first. Even if you particular in this situation are not, let's say, getting an advantage of whatever political party's in office, but if the country's doing better off, and if everyone's doing better off, really, why wouldn't you vote for that party or that politician? And I'm going to give you a perfect example right now. And just so you know, I'm not here to be politically correct. I'm here just to speak. It's my opinion. This is not a scripted show. It's just me talking to you. And hopefully in the future, I'm going to be having your Facebook, your comments. If you comment online, I'll be able to see that. So actually, we do have some comments online, and I'm going to see if I can put them up shortly. But basically, what I was going at is that, for example, and right now we have a president, President Donald Trump, who said, I'm going to build a wall. I'm going to build a wall, and I'm going to secure the border. And you have to imagine, okay, so if the president secures the border, why does he have to do that? Why do we need to secure the border, right? And now, just pause for a second and think about, if the border's open, what are the problems that it creates, and who does it impact? It's my opinion that the people that are impacted the most by an open border is the Black community in America. Yes, that's right. The Black community in America is the one that are impacted the most by an unsecured border. And I'm going to tell you why. There's two reasons why I think they're the ones impacted the most. The first reason is clearly because of jobs. So if we have an influx of illegal immigrants coming into the country, they're all looking for jobs, and guess what? They're taking away jobs from other people that would do them. They're keeping wages low because now there's a bigger pool of labor, so wages won't go up. And now we have on the left side of the political spectrum, people saying we need to raise wages. We need to, legally raise wages. So make a law so that wages go up instead of allowing the market to work itself out. So just recently, we had the lowest unemployment ever for Blacks in America, the lowest unemployment ever for Blacks. Now, I can tell you here in our district, in Florida District 9, we also had in the country, we had the lowest unemployment ever for Hispanics as well. Now, I noticed that a lot of people were still struggling. A lot of people were still working 2 jobs and long hours. And I was like, why is it that wages aren't going up if we have the lowest unemployment ever? Well, the fact of the matter is, when we have low unemployment, you have an open border, it becomes a magnet for illegal immigrants. So illegal immigrants come here, and yeah, there you go. Wages do not go up. So wages should have been going up, but they didn't. So I believe that the people who are impacted the most in America from illegal immigration, from an unsecured border, is the Black community in America. Now, there's another problem. When we have an unsecured border, yes, I know that cartels do smuggle drugs through planes, submarines, tunnels, but they also smuggle them across the border. That is not a mystery. So you can look it up yourself. And by us keeping the border unsecured, we just give the cartels so many other options of them to be successful in trying to smuggle the drugs. Listen, if they lose a shipment, they don't care. They're sending another one. It's so cheap for them to manufacture these drugs that they're not really losing out. So they're probably sending 10 shipments, and we might catch one. So we keeping the border open, it's just allowing the cartels to flood our cities, our inner cities, our lowest income neighborhoods, our poorest of neighborhoods, which is usually in the urban cities, which is usually where Democrats win majorities all the time. So to me, it's just puzzling how the black community would support the Democratic Party when they want to keep the borders open. Here comes our president trying to secure the border, trying to help the black community, help the country in general, really, because like I said, we had the lowest unemployment ever. But the problem was that if we keep the border open, we're going to keep having drugs coming into our communities, and we're going to keep having illegal immigrants coming here to take American jobs. And look at it now. What do we have? We have coronavirus. It has affected our economy. Here in Central Florida, we lead the state in unemployment numbers. There's so many people unemployed. The theme parks are here in Central Florida are not just furloughing employees, but they're laying off employees left and right. The hotels are laying off employees. The restaurants are laying off employees. Even the Uber drivers can't find work because they're all competing against each other now. There's so many drivers out there, people looking for work. So how can we say, yes, let's keep the border open and allow illegal immigrants to come here looking for jobs? Because just think about it. I just told you that in Latin America, they are also closed. What's this going to happen? If you think that our economy is being hurt, the economy in Latin America is also being hurt. And they're going to have massive unemployment. And as soon as everything opens up, we're going to have waves and waves and waves of illegal immigrants coming here, trying to look for jobs. But Americans are looking for jobs. And the black community is looking for jobs. The Hispanic community is looking for jobs. All Americans, all colors are looking for jobs. So how can we say we want that? So anyway, so going back to the black community, right? So if we have a president here that's doing something good for the country, we have the lowest unemployment ever, our economy is rolling full steam ahead, how can people say, I'm not going to vote for him, I'm going to vote for someone else? Well, you know what? How? This is how. We have the biggest cheerleader in the Democratic Party, which is Joe Biden, saying to blacks in America, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. And basically that's what's saying is we're gonna cancel you. We're gonna do this cancel culture on you. We're gonna call you out. We're gonna tell you you're an Uncle Tom, and basically we're gonna scare you. We're gonna scare you, and so that you don't come out and be a voice for the conservatives for the things that are gonna help this country. So just for a second, let's just assume, which is not true, but let's assume that our president, Donald Trump, does not like black people. Everything that he's doing is helping blacks across America get out of poverty. And he's not targeting blacks. I just think he's helping everyone. He's helping Hispanics. Hispanics, like I told you, had the lowest unemployment ever. We were buying houses left and right. Americans of all colors, all creeds, whether you're religious or not religious, whether you were on the left and the right, everyone was doing better. So why would you vote against that? So even if what they're saying is true, and I think it's because they don't believe in that. They don't believe in that, and I'm going to show you that speech again. They don't believe in this.
And so,
I think
my
we ought to start
fellow
believing.
Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. My fellow citizens of the world, ask not what America will do for you, but what together we can do for the freedom of man.
Hi everyone, and I just was trying to look at the messages that you've been posting on, and it says I need to speak a little louder, or the microphone's just not high enough. So we're definitely going to work on that for the next show. Now, I'll tell you a little bit more about the show. This is my first time doing this. In the future, we're going to have candidates. We're going to have the representatives of political organizations, such as the local Republican parties, some of the assemblies, like the Florida Republican Assembly or the Republican National Hispanic Assembly. We also have the Federated Women's Clubs, because what we want is we want you to get involved. Not just join those organizations, not just join the party, but we want you to get involved. And some of you might be, considering running for office, and we need that. There's so many positions, whether it be local, state, and federal, that we need you to just take a pause, turn right, look at what your rights are. What does the Constitution say? Become a constitutional conservative, and then stand up for those rights, fight, and hopefully you will run for office. And I can tell you, from my experience, I've gained a lot of experience in the last race, and I'm going to use everything I learned for this upcoming race. But I can also share that knowledge with you and help you, so that together we can make sure that this country turns right. That is pretty much what I have for you today. I'll be on probably next week. And I'm just going to leave you with this. I have a video that I made here with John F. Kennedy, and it's just footage from his memorial. And again, thank you for tuning in, and please like and share, and make sure you comment.
Fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. My fellow citizens of the world, ask not what America will do for you, but what together we can do for the freedom of man.